When Kimberly mysteriously disappears for 8 years and turns up under a different identity, everyone is left wondering why the hairdresser would go to such extreme lengths. Is any of it connected to something that she is hiding from? In this rare footage of Kimberly's interrogation, we bring you the bizarre story of a dark-hearted hairdresser. When Joleen Cummings, a hairdresser, failed to meet her ex-husband to pick up their children, he suspected that something had to be wrong. Unfortunately, his fears were confirmed when her abandoned car was found later. Upon preliminary investigation and a CCTV review, Cummins' co-worker, Jennifer Sybert, was found close to the car. Shockingly, the original bearer of the name, Jennifer Sybert, is no longer alive. It turns out that Jennifer is using a fake alias and her name is really Kimberly Kessler. In 2008, Kimberly had gone missing, and for some strange reasons. Her mother never reported her missing until 2012. This bizarre discovery led the police to begin a full investigation into the movement of Kimberly, and it was discovered that she had a combined number of 18 aliases. She had also lived in 33 cities across 14 states of the United States of America. As a result of this, the police arrest her and bring her in for questioning. This became necessary as it was further discovered that she had been using these pseudo-identities even before her disappearance in 2008. The police are faced with the dilemma of whether Cummins, her colleague, is her only victim, or if she had committed similar crimes under different identities. As the interview gets underway, Kimberly gives her name as Kimberly, since that is what will be displayed if she was to do a biometric.
When you run my fingerprints through, they come up as Kimberly Lee Kessler.
She also states that she's been running from the FBI for over 25 years and has been using the alias Kimberly since 1999.
I've been running from the FBI for over 25 years. I've been living under this particular alias since 1999, so not quite 1999, this is 18, yeah, about 19 years, and that's about it.
Kimberly is unusually confident for someone under interrogation. She spills personal information about her life and her family.
My mom's name, she's Connie Kessler, she's up in Butler, Pennsylvania. I have a brother, Robert Charles Kessler, a sister, Sarah Jacqueline Kessler Halsey.
She mentions that she has not seen them in about 20 years. She speaks about her 20-year-old son, whom she saw last at 14 months, and much more.
My son is 20 years old now. I haven't seen him since he was 14 months old.
She also delves into some history and the wealth that her grandparents had.
Okay, so my grandparents on my father's side of the family made a lot of money.
In real estate or?
No. No. Actually estate sales. Lots and lots and lots of money.
The interrogators do not interrupt her as she goes on, and they seem to encourage her vanity. Of course, they are trying to build rapport. As she continues to speak, she mentions one of her relationships with a man who was a bank robber at the time.
First relationships in Arizona, he robbed banks, and I met him. I was working as a topless dancer, and that was before my truck driving debut.
She also says she was a top dancer, but had to give it up when she got older.
I love to dance, and I don't know, I was young.
The conversation sways to religion and her aversion to the implantation of a chip, as it could alter the DNA of whoever had it.
They said that there's something in that actual chip that changes or alters the DNA so that you can't take it out.
This is in reference to an account from the book of Revelations in the Bible. Although the detective seems to be having some fun with her loud mouth, they are using her responses about places where she has been to track crimes that she may have committed while there. Kimberly appears really enthusiastic as she can't stop telling the detective to pull up her profile to confirm that she is wanted by the FBI.
I'm going to go in there and pull it up, and you're wanted by the FBI.
I am wanted by the FBI.
Okay.
The detectives ask if she is under the influence of any drugs or alcohol, and she refutes this.
Are you under the influence of any drugs or alcohol right now?
No.
Okay.
They also ask if she understands what her Miranda rights are, and she appears to have no problems with her rights being read out to her.
Can you read and write in English language?
I can't.
After reading her rights to her, they step out briefly to pull up her biodata and return with a younger version of her. However, there is no concrete documentation that suggests that she is wanted by the FBI. There is only a missing persons report. When this is brought to her awareness, she jokingly says that the missing persons report must have been filed by her mother and that she is not missing.
That's probably my mother saying I'm a missing person. I'm not missing.
Since there are no official reports for her purported case with the FBI, the cops ask her why she is on the run from the FBI. She tells them that she used a fake ID to get a real estate license in Arizona and had to flee when they ran the fingerprints and the name came up as Kimberly instead of the alias she used.
I went for the real estate license, and there you get fingerprinted. Well, I was fingerprinted once before as Kimberly Kessler for trouble I'd gotten into prior. So whenever it ran through, they were like, I got in trouble. They were looking for me then. They were like, we show you these fingerprints come up as Kimberly Kessler, but you say you're Melissa McKernan. I'm like,
She remembers getting a call from the FBI when her fraud is discovered and fleeing the state with the help of her boyfriend.
I had my boyfriend take me to the airport and I flew back to Virginia.
She also says that Child Protection Services had taken her son from her while he was still a baby. As a result, she obtained a gun and vowed to get him back. She claims that her illegal possession of the firearm is why she is wanted in Virginia.
Virginia's probably for the weapon thing, and then they're still trying to do something with it. They were trying to
Is it illegal to have a weapon in Virginia? Or just...
I think probably whenever you're going to... I plan on taking my son back. That's what I plan on
Did you
doing.
bond out, or did you do time?
I bonded out.
Eventually, her son's father is given full custody of him, and she appears grateful that he is alive and was raised by a family member.
I'm just very grateful that my son went with a family member, with his father.
She spends some more time talking about her son and his father, Tim. For some reason, she believes that he is a drug user, even though she has no evidence to back it up. She bases her claims on his weird and unpredictable behavior sometimes. After this, she delves into her days as a student. In her speech, she tells the detectives that she was a great student and also a cheerleader.
I was an honor roll student. I was a cheerleader.
She also speaks out about how much she enjoyed school and was set on graduating. However, she brings in a story of her mother, who she claims was abusive.
My mom was acting crazy.
According to her mother's mean treatment contributed in no small way to her dropping out of school. The detectives chip in and spend some time talking about their school days and their interest or preferences in school. None of what Kimberly is doing is clear. It is possible that she really thinks the detectives are really interested in her history. On the other hand, she might be telling these tales as a way of creating a distraction. So far, Kimberly has not been asked any direct questions about her possible involvement in the disappearance of Cummins. All she has done so far is tell unnecessary tales about her life. From the way she speaks, she is really grateful that her son did get to grow up with his dad, and chimes in stories about Tim, her son's father. On one occasion, she mentions him demanding to carry the baby at 3 months old.
Evan was like 3 months old.
When she refused, he forced her to give him the child.
His dad took us, and he was just acting kind of crazy, and he's like, give me Evan. It was at night. And I'm like, for what? Like, he was never even interested in the baby before. It's like 9 o'clock at night. I'm like, for what? Like, give me the baby. I'm like, for what? And he goes to like grab him, and I'm like, he's 3 months old. You can't wrestle over a 3-month-old. They're fragile.
This, according to her, is one of the times when Tim had acted quite odd. Other than that, he's a pretty decent father. As time passes in the interrogation room, she speaks about her son again, and then gets into the state of her family. She remembers having to bury her dad all by herself after he passed.
My dad passed away when I was young, and that was one of the hardest things. I wish if I could go back in time, that's one thing. If I could change it, I would. I'd somehow save him.
This is because her mother had divorced him shortly before he passed on.
My mom divorced him right before he died.
She claims that the memory of all that stayed with her, and she mourned her father for a whole year.
I love my dad. I hyperventilated and cried for over a year.
This information seems like the opening that the cops are searching for, and so one of them asks if she knows why she is being interrogated. She responds by saying she knows and recalls being accused by one of her interrogators of having something to do with the disappearance of one of her colleagues, Cummins.
Why you're here?
Yes, I'm being accused. You accused me the other night of, you're like, where's Joleen at? So, and I do not know where she is.
At this, the detective apologizes for his manners and speaks about the challenges of his job.
The other night, and I think I apologized to you the other night because, when I talk to you and tell you that family means a lot to me.
And having to tell family members about the demise of the loved ones while they try to bring justice to the slain. He also speaks about visiting Cummin's house and finding her little boys running around oblivious to the tragedy that just befell them. He feels pained for the boys, as it's possible that their mother may never return.
I'm standing there, and one of them's running between my legs, just running around, and they're all over the floor, and I'm like, they were running around like wild Indians. I don't mean that in a negative way. And it was just, it broke my heart because I was like, where is she?
This statement might be an attempt to evoke some emotions and appeal to Kimberly's humanity. They continue to ask more questions about Cummins. They try to find out if she ever talked to Kimberly or some of the clients who came to have their hair done about some troubles or unresolved issues with her boyfriend.
She had a boyfriend. Did she ever talk about anybody she was scared of? Did she ever say anything that she wanted to run away and get away from it all?
Kimberly denies ever having any conversations with Cummins over any troubles she was possibly going through. She also appears surprised that Cummins had a boyfriend. She tells the detectives that she would usually encourage her to go out and mingle with people as she was still young.
You're young, why don't you go out? She's like, no, I don't need a man in my life. But here she had a boyfriend, I didn't even know that.
Next, they ask what her behavior was like, or if she was involved in some bad habits that could put her in trouble. At this, Kimberly says Cummins was all right as a person. However, she had once seen some unethical drugs in the hair salon where they worked.
Was she involved in any bad habits or anything that could get her in trouble?
I can't say that she did, but I did find a bag that I believe had crystal meth in it, just a little bit in the bottom, a tiny baggie back by the back door.
Kimberly, as a person, detests drugs, or so she claims. Did her discovery of this drug with Cummins being the potential owner trigger her? She further explains that she didn't know what it was until Cummins told her what it was. After this discovery, she says she suspected that it must belong to one of the ladies who worked there because of her known drug addiction problems. Eventually, she finds out that the lady she would naturally suspect uses a different type, and so she is left to believe that the illicit content belongs to Cummins.
I thought it was maybe Vicky's daughter, Whitney, because Whitney has a drug problem, but I didn't know exactly what at the time. And then later I found out it's Whitney likes opiates and heroin. She doesn't.
They ask if she ever hung out with Cummins or used her car at some point. To this, Kimberly tells them that they never hung out, nor did she use Cummins' car on any occasion.
You ever allowed to use your car? You're allowed to use her car? Did you ever go anywhere together like that?
No.
The detectives then tell her that she was brought in for questioning on the grounds of grand auto theft because they had seen CCTV footage of her close to Cummins' car before going on to take a taxi as she left the scene.
And the reason you're charged with that is because whenever we talked about that, there's video of you dropping her car off at the Home Depot parking lot there in Yulee and walking across and going into the gate station and getting a taxi cab back down to, they had it listed as Dick's Wings, but it was back down there to where Tangles is, okay?
They also tell her of more pieces of evidence that include the use of her credit card after Cummins' disappearance, as well as her discovered shoes which had Cummins' blood on them.
We've got the video of you when you go in and buy a bottle of water, you bought it on your credit card. You paid for the cab on your credit card. You used the clerk's phone to make the phone call to the cab company. We also have recovered your shoes that has Joleen's blood on your shoes.
The detectives ask that she helps them with the recovery of Cummins' body, as they are certain that she knows where it is. She defiantly refuses to speak to anyone.
You can help me do that, and you're the one that can make it happen, right now.
No, I cannot.
and invokes her right to an attorney, and so the interview comes to an end. It's obvious that she never knew how much evidence the police had gathered against her. When these are revealed, she is too shocked to react and is left with no choice but to invoke her rights. In the days that follow, more CCTV footage reveals her dragging concealed items in dumpster bags and dropping them off at a location at weird times of the day. She is also caught on camera at Walmart buying cleaning agents as well as an electric carving knife. She continues to dump these heavy items in dumpster bags for pickup by the dumpster companies. No one ever saw what was contained in the bags, but it could have been some really bizarre stuff. In a bid to protest, Kimberly goes on hunger strike, but this is not enough to stop the hand of justice against her. She is eventually convicted for taking Cummin's life, as well as a 2-count charge of assaulting police officers. In the end, she is sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to see more stories on true crime, then be sure to subscribe to our channel. This way, you'll be notified every single time we upload new videos. Thank you for watching.